really playing fast and loose with how long these episodes are. Hello, everyone. Terrence with Hollywood already did it. If you haven't already, like, share, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell below. Anytime we have something, you'll be among the first to know. Third episode of Book of Boba Fett is here. It's called The Streets of Mos Espa. It is no secret that I have not been a big fan of this series. And while this episode's still a bit meh, it is probably the first episode of this series that I am now excited for the episodes that are to follow. So this episode starts with Fett trying to figure out the lay of the land of Tatooine. Kind of figure out which factions own what part, what gangs, and kind of comes to the conclusion that there are three factions that sort of garner all of Tatooine. And after being reminded consistently by everybody how much no one respects him, a new water farmer vendor shows up to also remind him that no one respects him. But he does offer a way to sort of garner and gain respect. He says, hey, look, if you do this thing for me, there's this young punk to cyborg gang that is stealing water from me. If you can get them to stop and punish them, it'll go a long way for my tribute to you, and I will respect you more. So Fett and Fennec head out there to meet these cyborgs, and when they're there, they realize that, hey, these guys are just out of work. And the water farmer vendor is seriously gouging his water prices, and so Boba hires them to be his sort of grunt, his new enforcers, his backup. And he sort of pays off at a much lower rate the vendors so that he stops bothering these folks. Sort of a way to gain respect from these kids, from these young folks, and sort of bolster up his ranks as the new daimon. Whenever I see that bath tank, my heart sinks a bit, because the worst thing that I have for these shows is these flashbacks. It sort of just stops any and all momentum that these episodes have by saying, hey, let's go back into the past about some stuff that may or may not be important, but we could do in a better way. Instead, we're going to spend the entire episode in that past. Luckily, I think we have found a way to sort of fix that for the future. But we go to a past sequence that pretty much does anything but try to push Boba Fett's journey ahead. And sort of makes all the episodes of flashbacks that we've done before utterly useless, because we get the Tusken Raiders wiped off the board. While Boba Fett is off doing an errand to sort of talk to the Pikes and get basically a protection order that they are now the protectors of the Outer Rim. While he's doing that errand, he comes back to find out that the entire Tusken Raider squad has been wiped out by the Nitgo gang. And thus we're done there. He does his little ceremony, burns up their bodies, and we are then back in the present, where we're being yanked out of a flashback, literally, by Santi, who is there pulling Boba Fett out of his tank. Santi's there to make another attempt on his life, sent there by the Hutts, more than likely, which we find out that yes, that is the case. But he's sent there to end his life, and he is saved by the new guards, the new gang that he just kind of hired on the spot. Smart thinking. Something isn't right here, though. Something's not on the up and up. Crescentin is a very large being. For him to make it through the temple all the way up to Boba's chambers and be able to actually yank him out of the chambers and spend a good quality amount of time there fighting him before anyone shows up. Someone on his team led him there or allowed him to be there. Could be Fennec. There's a lot of sequences where we don't see Fennec in this season. I think that's partly because of the unorthodox way of storytelling, but some of that could be they may be trying to show that she's a bit shady and not on the up and up. But someone allowed him to just walk through there undetected. If they didn't, it doesn't make a lick of sense. But in that battle, they managed to sort of entrap Santi into the pit below Jabba, Boba Fett's temple, and the Hutts get word of it. The Hutts come the next day, and they're like, yo, that's on me. My bad. We shouldn't have tried to kill you. Because here's this thing. We've both been lied to. And that the mayor is working with the Pikes, and a huge war is about to go down here. And we're just going to roll out. You can keep Santi, hold on to him, do whatever you want to do with him. And here's a baby Rancor that you can re-up your pit with, because our bad. And they just they bounce off. They're leaving Tatooine because they know all hell's about to break loose, and there's about to be a war that folks probably aren't prepared for. Boba just lets Santi go. He kind of tells him, like, hey, you might want to do a better job. I've been there. I've been where you are as a bounty hunter. You might want to do a better job of what jobs you decide to take on. And Santi kind of like, all right, cool. And he runs off. And then we get them to go to check up in on the mayor because they now with this news information they went to go see the mayor. Mayor's not there. A huge speeder chase sequence ensues with the new gang folks on their colorful Teletubbies, Sky Kids esque Robert Rodriguez. I know what you're doing here. Spy Kids esque speeder bikes to chase the mayor second as he tries to escape. And then they finally catch him, and he gives them the information that who the mayor is working with. And then we see one of the 4 cyborgs, the one with the eye, the informant, kind of just watching, and he sees all these Pikes folks coming in on a ship, and all hell's about to break loose. He gets word back to Boba, and Boba says, let's prepare for a war. 2 things stand out to me about this episode. One, I think we may be done with the flashbacks. I think, one, there's nothing else, from what I can tell, in that story that is going to impact or have a say on what happens in the present. Tuskens are gone. He's already in his full garb. He's been able to fight a little bit, and there's that connection with the Pikes, which now is already coming back into the present. So I think the flashbacks are done. Also because now that he is susceptible to being attacked while in the tank, I don't know how often he's going to be there to recoup when there's so much happening around the world. Like there's so many attempts on his life and so much of a power struggle. I think we're going to spend the majority of our time in the present, which is great because that's where the show takes its shape. That's where it really gets the momentum going. 2, it's clear that somebody in his team, the way that someone was just allowed to go into there, somebody is setting him up. And I don't know who it is. All signs will point to Fennec because of how back and forth she was in The Mandalorian. But someone on his team is not on the up and up. And there could be some people who still have like allegiance to the Hutts. Who knows? But with all of this is where I get to me. I love the underbelly of the Star Wars world. Like, yeah, the Jedi's and all that stuff is great. I would love to see that again. But sometimes just give me the meat and potatoes of what the crime syndicate looks like in this world is where I want to be. It looks like we're starting to head in that direction. I think losing the flashbacks and losing the just direct halt that these episodes kind of sort of come to will do everything about this series a big favor. We get a lot of new faces. We get Danny Trejo. We get Yellow Jacket fame actresses. We're starting to build up the world in the present, so that I think anything that would happen in the past, because it's clear the Tusken Raiders didn't matter. Nobody had a name. Nobody had that big of a connection. We just did that to move along Boba. Now that we're out of that, I think this is where we're going to really excel. So what do you guys think about episode 3 of the Book of Boba Fett? Go ahead and leave your comments in the comments below. If you haven't already, you can follow us on Twitter at HollywoodADI. You can hit us up on email at HollywoodAlreadyDidIt@gmail.com. We also have a podcast by the same name that's on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere that plays podcasts. Like always, I got my ticket. You got yours.